Hi you guys. I first off want to go ahead and apologize because I literally have not even logged into my YouTube account in I don't know, years, quite literally years. It's been a really long time. I know in my previous videos I had said, "Oh, I'll respond to messages. I'll I'll be there, blah 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 blah." And I'm so sorry if you are one of those people who messaged me. I've actually had a few people watch my videos and actually go ahead and contact me on Facebook, which has been really cool. So I'm here to talk to you guys about depersonalization and derealization. Gosh, it's been such a long time since I've done any of this. So it's kind of weird. When I logged onto my computer, I had no idea where to go or what to do or anything. So it was kind of a journey just to get here. So okay, so actually tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and then Friday is Black Friday. And this Friday is actually going to be my, I guess you could say anniversary, my 3rd-year anniversary since I got the depersonalization and the derealization. When I first got it, it was hell. And if you guys have watched my previous videos, you know, I'll have to go back and watch it just to see then versus now, what I've talked about. But anyways, so if you're watching this, I assume either you have it or you know someone who has it and you're trying to help, which is awesome because people who have this, it's necessary to have a support group. Extremely easy. When I first got this, it was from smoking, I believe, synthetic marijuana. I ended up in the emergency room. They thought that I had a brain tumor. My parents, I was 18 and I'm 21 now. But anyways, you know, my parents thought that I was losing it and going crazy. And it was a very bad experience. I was in the emergency room and ended up there, ended up in a couple different therapy offices and the place where crazy people go, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with being crazy because I think it's more fun than being normal anyways. But I was in school and I actually ended up, it was 7/8 of the way through the semester. I just had a couple more classes and finals to do. I ended up having to move back home. It was 2 hours from where I live now. Moved back home and I literally, I think I laid on the couch every day, all day, because I didn't know what to do. I didn't think I was supposed to be here anymore. I thought that, you know, God, for whatever reason, no longer wanted me here. And for a really long time, that was what I firmly believed in. So, there were, probably for at least 2 weeks, if not longer, probably closer to a month, I literally slept at, the foot of my parents' bed because I was terrified of everything. And I think that the worst part is that you're terrified of your own thoughts. And I think that that's really scary because you can't always control them. Recently I've had people, you know, ask me, what is it like? Well, you know what it's like. You have it. It's probably the exact same way for everybody. It's awful. You get the existential thoughts. You wonder, why am I here? What am I doing? What is life about? What is life? Is this reality? Is this real? Am I seeing you? I would constantly ask my mom for a long time, is this real? Are we really doing this right now? Are we really going to grandma's house? Did we really just do this? And she probably thought I was crazy because who asks that, you know? But it's awful. It's hell. I know a lot of people aren't necessarily from the U.S. who get it. I've had someone contact me from South America, someone contact me from Canada, a couple people, well, I think from Asia, that area. So I know that it's not always easy to find a support group. However, I do know that there are groups on Facebook. And, you know, so that's something that's super important. And people, the one thing that people keep asking me is, are you cured? Are you cured? Are you cured? And I'm going to tell you that, yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are days when I wake up and I just know it's going to be a bad day. There are certain things that you'll find out if you're having this that that will trigger you to have a bad day, and it sucks. You know, you you're like literally living in hell for however long it takes you, to get past that point. And I was talking to someone today, and I said, I think the hardest part of this is getting past the point, but you don't realize where that point is at. So you literally have to just keep trucking, just keep trudging along. You have to keep with it. Keep up as normal of a lifestyle as possible. I kind of like the fake it till you make it sort of mentality. Even though I know, like I said, I know this is really hard. I've been through it 3 years now. But people ask me, like, if I'm taking medications and that sort of thing, and yes, I am. I take 75 milligrams of Effexor 2 times a day, and then I'm also on a medicine called gabapentin, which is actually for, it's kind of like a Xanax, but I don't like Xanax because it makes me feel awful. But anyways, I feel like I'm totally just, I don't know, talking about a lot of different things, but I haven't been on here for such a long time. So, but anyways, I'm taking medicine. Previously, I was doing therapy, like, I think it was twice a week or once a week even. And I have actually stopped doing that. Shortly after I think I had finished making my videos, I ended up getting a job. And that's part of the thing where I say, like, you have to push yourself. It's not easy. This is not an easy thing to deal with or to cope with by any means. But you have to get that mentality that you're just going to get through it, because you are. It takes time, and it takes a hell of a lot of patience, and it's hard. It's really, really hard. And the thing that I hate the most about my personal experience is that when I get the most, like, anxious and the most, like, existential thoughts and that sort of thing is right around the holidays. And I don't want to have to deal with that. You want to be happy. You want to enjoy time with your family, that sort of thing. And that is one thing that's extremely difficult for me. And, this time of year just reminds me of, like, a bad, hold on, I gotta let my dog in. Just a bad time. It's hard. But it gets easier. The trick that I think a lot of this revolves around is that you have to keep going. And then, like, one day you're just gonna go, you're gonna sit down and you're gonna feel so good, and you're not even gonna realize it, because I do this all the time. I, like, sit down and I'm like, oh, like, somebody will say something and I'll be like, oh wow, like, that didn't bother me. That didn't make me think of anything bad. Like, I can have a normal conversation with somebody. It doesn't make me anxious. It doesn't worry me at all. And, like, somebody asked me, somebody with DP and DR asked me just today, like, do you have your, like, normal emotions back? And I, like, hadn't even thought about it. Like, but I told her, like, here's you, and here's your emotions. And normally they're like this, like, when you're normal, when you don't have DP and DR, when you're normal. But normally you're like this. But then, like, I feel like there's just, like, a glass wall between you and these emotions when you have this. Like, you want to feel them, and you know what you should feel like. You want to be happy. You want to be sad. You want to be whatever feeling you get. But it's like there's just a disconnect between you and, like, I don't know how to describe it. Feeling it. Like, emotionally being able to. I couldn't cry for a really long time, which I know is strange, but I just felt like an empty vessel. there wasn't really anything to me, and I didn't do anything, kind of basket case. I didn't feel like I had emotions, and if they were there, I certainly did not feel like I was connected to them at all. So that was another thing that was really hard, because I wouldn't say I'm a super emotional person, but I do think it's healthy to have emotions, and not being able to connect with those was a difficult thing for me. Okay. So I should have written this stuff down. But anyways, so I did start working. Oh, another thing is, I know that I had mentioned in my videos before to work out. That actually significantly helped me. I know some people can't do it. It makes their anxiety worse, or that kind of thing. But if you can do it, I would strongly recommend it. And even if it's not like yoga is like easy or anything, but even if it's yoga or Pilates, which are, by the way, very difficult, something um, physically entertaining, excites your body, gets endorphins pumping, is extremely important, because I literally laid on our couch for like, I feel like it was like for 3 or 4 months straight. And it was awful, and I don't think that that helped one bit. I think it made every single day that much harder. I remember when the Sandy Hook elementary school, when that, I think it was a shooter, or not, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was, but I literally remember I was laying on the couch, and I called my mom, and I was like, hey, did you hear about this? And then I laid on the couch and watched the rest of the news story. And I remember that pretty vividly, but, so that was, I just lay there, and I didn't do anything. And I know that it's super difficult to concentrate, because your mind is like, I'm going to start reading. Just kidding. I'm going to go think about life and how miserable it is and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, really? Because I just wanted to read. I personally watched a lot of TV, but I think that it was like something to get my mind off of specifically thinking about like those awful thoughts. And right now, I will tell you that I still get those sometimes, probably like a couple times a week, maybe a little bit more. But the way that I feel, I would say probably 75 to 90% of the time, it's like all the stuff that I went through with this derealization and depersonalization. It's like it didn't really happen. It's kind of more like, I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't really feel like it was a period of my life. It feels like it was kind of just like a memory. Like my body doesn't like physically remember going through that. And it's kind of like childbirth or any pain that you go through. Your body doesn't remember it. So I kind of think that a little bit. But I mean, I know I went through it, and it's, you still get those thoughts. But I mean, I would lay in bed at night, and that's all I would think about. And I would start, I would just, I did cry a lot. I do remember that, because I would get in the shower, and in the shower, you don't have anything else to think about. That's actually where I do my best thinking. But you don't have anything else to think about, or do, or preoccupy your mind with. So where did my mind go? It went to the existential crap that makes your anxiety go from a 10 to a 500. Gosh. So, yeah. But anyways, I think this is the third time I've repeated this, sorry. I started working, actually at Wings, like, shortly after I had made my video. Especially, oh, that was my point, okay. But I worked at Wings for like 2 years, and would you like to be the guest star, Maggie? This is Maggie. She's not very photogenic. Say hi. Would you just look? Hi! You're kind of a buzzkill. Anyways, no, there's nothing out there for you. But anyways, it was hard. Push through it because it sucks, and I don't think there's anything you can do about it besides be patient and wait for time to pass and live life as normally as you can. I was talking about like concentrating on something, and I'm not saying that anybody should necessarily like do this, but actually just shortly after I like started getting the DP and DR, we actually went and bought a puppy, and he's gonna be 3 next month now, and like so much of my energy and my focus like went on him, and I really think that helped. So like as much as you can distract yourself from yourself, I think that every bit that you can do that will help you. Since then, I did start going back to school. When I first started, I had zero concentration, and I took like an anthropology class or something. And like there was a chapter on like death and the age of like dying and the elderly people, and I couldn't get through it because like one word would make me think of 1,000 awful words. And it's just, I guess it's just the way it is. And I really couldn't even like describe to you how I felt so much anymore, besides like miserable and terrified. And then I'm now working part-time, but this is going to be my 3rd job now in 3 years, which doesn't really sound that great, but it's fine. I actually got accepted into my nursing school, and I get to start that in January. So, I mean, my concentration after, pushing myself and, all that good stuff, it got a lot better. And don't push yourself. I mean, you know your limits, so don't push yourself so far as to, give yourself anxiety attacks or panic attacks or that kind of thing. But get right on that edge. Push yourself out of that comfort zone. If you have like triggers, like one of mine was that I couldn't be in like a car after dark, because that's when I got my couple worst panic attacks, or 3. But anyways, exposure therapy, if you don't know what it is, look it up. The best way, well, not the best way, but a way to get over something that you're afraid of is to expose yourself to it. And I have found that it takes a while. It took me a year and a half to start driving again. A year and a half to start driving again, but I would not drive after dark. And June? No, maybe May. Regardless, spring/summer of this year, I started driving by myself all the time, after dark, during the day, whenever. And that's one thing that I'm super proud of. So it gets better. And if you watch this whole video or you skip to the end or whatever, I don't care. It's probably going to be super long anyways. But regardless, it gets better. And if you're just starting out, or if you're in a really, really hard part, you're not going to believe me. And that's fine. Sometimes I think that you want to, but you can't. And that's okay. I think that's normal, because when I first started, or when I first got the DP and DR, I watched videos and videos and videos online. and it was like, I'm never gonna get better. I'm gonna be like this forever. And that was one thing that I was very scared of, was being like stuck like that forever. And one thing that I do worry about, I would say probably more than anything, is that I do believe in God and I do believe in heaven. I go to church as often as I can, a semi-ish weekly basis. But I had a really hard time believing in anything when I first got that. And I think that that's normal for people to go through. And especially because I was at that like age in my late teens. Um, and then on top of that, I had this awful, terrible thing going on. So I didn't feel like God was here, or, whatever. And it's taken me a really long time, but we have come to terms with one another. Well, he was always, but I feel a lot better. However, with that being said, I do believe in God. I do believe there is a heaven and hell. However, one thing that I'm very afraid of is that is dying, and it's still hard. Yeah, Maggie. But anyway, the dying and death, um, what happens to us, after we die. And I don't want to go into this crazy a whole lot because I don't want to set off any, feelings or upset you or anything like that, because I know that if I start talking about it, then I'm going to start thinking about it, and then I'm going to get anxious, and then, and I just don't want to do that. Relationship wise, though, I was in a relationship for 2 years. It was very difficult for him to, understand what I was going through, but he tried really, really hard to be supportive. So that was pretty cool, and I think it's very important to surround yourself with people who are going to support you. It took my parents a very long time to just say, okay, like, whatever you're saying, okay, and I can understand that because I've always been a really good kid. I've never really had any problems, especially psychologically. So it was hard for them. And, you once you kind of come out of this, you have to remember that, like, yes, this is hard for you, but you gotta also remember that this is hard for everybody else too. I do not think that you should apologize, because well, it might be your fault, but that doesn't matter. Sorry. But you didn't ask for this to happen. I don't like this song. You didn't ask for this to happen. We can just say it's not your fault and we won't tell anybody. But, just, I think my mom actually did some therapy, just to understand, like, how to handle me. Because, for if you're looking there at your kids and they're saying, Mom, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be alive. Mom, I'm not okay. I remember sitting in the emergency room and telling my mom, like, I'm not okay. And I told her that when I was okay, that I would let her know. And just recently, I feel like I can actually tell her that. And it's hard on everybody. So just to know that, your support group, your family, or your friends, or whoever it is, it's hard on them too. I mean, it's kind of their job to take care of you right now, so don't feel bad about it or anything by any means. That's not what I'm trying to say. But just remember, just go with it. Lean on them, because I think that's super important. Without my parents or my friends, I do not think that I would have been out of it. Let's see. But, okay, yeah. that's pretty much it. But I just wanted to go ahead and do this because my personal like anniversary date is coming up in 2 days, and like reflecting back, it's just crazy to think like I'm here now, and this, what I feel like now compared, I don't think there is any comparison as to what I felt like at this time. Well, not at this time, but around this time 3 years ago. So, if you are going through derealization and depersonalization, just keep up with it. Be strong. Keep faith in God. If you don't believe in Him, that's fine. That's your business. Um, but hold true to Him. And it's okay if you're going through a time where you don't feel like there is a God, and you don't feel like there's heaven, and you question it. That's perfectly fine. Because I think if you don't go through that time, then you can't appreciate God and heaven and church and the religious aspects and in your church family and that kind of thing. So I do think that that's super important. But be strong, and I will maybe try to do like another video depending on the response that I get from this one, because I've actually, like, logging on here, I actually saw a lot of views, so I was super excited about that. But that is all for now. I wish you the best of luck. God bless all of you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And I think that's it. So have faith in yourself too, because that's super important. And stay strong and keep going no matter what happens. And things will get better. I promise. Alright, bye you guys. Relationship wise though, I was in a relationship for 2 years. It was very difficult for him to, understand what I was going through. But he tried really, really hard to be supportive. So that was pretty cool. And I think it's very important to surround yourself with people who are going to support you. It took my parents a very long time to just say, okay, like, whatever you're saying, okay, and I can understand that because I've always been a really good kid. I've never really had any problems, especially psychologically. So it was hard for them, and you once you kind of come out of this, you have to remember that, like, yes, this is hard for you, but you gotta also remember that this is hard for everybody else too. I do not think that you should apologize because this is, well, it might be your fault, but that doesn't matter. Sorry. But you didn't ask for this to happen. I don't like this song. You didn't ask for this to happen. We can just say it's not your fault and we won't tell anybody. But, just, I think my mom actually did some therapy, just to understand, like, how to handle me. Because, for if you're looking there at your kids and they're saying, Mom, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be alive. Mom, I'm not okay. I remember sitting in the emergency room and telling my mom, like, I'm not okay. And I told her that when I was okay, that I would let her know. And just recently, I feel like I can actually tell her that. And it's hard on everybody. So just to know that, your support group, your family, or your friends, or whoever it is, it's hard on them too. I mean, it's kind of their job to take care of you right now, so don't feel bad about it or anything by any means. That's not what I'm trying to say. But just remember, just go with it. Lean on them, because I think that's super important. Without my parents or my friends, I do not think that I would have been out of it. Let's see. But, okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. But I just wanted to go ahead and do this because my personal like anniversary date is coming up in 2 days, and yeah, like reflecting back, it's just crazy to think like I'm here now, and this, what I feel like now compared, I don't think there is any comparison as to what I felt like at this time. Well, not at this time, but around this time 3 years ago. So, um, if you are going through derealization and depersonalization, just keep up with it. Be strong. Keep faith in God. If you don't believe in Him, that's fine. That's your business. Um, but hold true to Him. And it's okay if you're going through a time where you don't feel like there is a God and you don't feel like there's heaven and you question it. That's perfectly fine. Because I think if you don't go through that time, then you can't appreciate what you can't appreciate God and heaven and church and the religious aspects and in your church family and that kind of thing. So I do think that that's super important. But be strong, and I will maybe try to do like another video depending on the response that I get from this one, because I've actually, like, logging on here, I actually saw a lot of views, so I'm super excited about that. But that is all for now. I wish you the best of luck. God bless all of you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. And I think that's it. So have faith in yourself too, because that's super important. And stay strong and keep going no matter what happens. And things will get better. I promise. Alright, bye you guys.